I've got something here with me. This one is called chocolate peanut butter flavor. 20 grams of protein, 4 net carbs. So I'm going to take a bite of this and see what we think with some reluctance.
By the way, just so you know, whoa, did you just, you didn't even let me stop you. Obviously, you were not kidding when it comes to your appetite having reached all-time highs over the past several days. That literally happened before I was even able to look up at the camera. I was 100% convinced that you were going to set a new record low this week. 100%. I've never been 100% convinced of anything. Okay. I don't think in my entire life. I've always been in the, 90, maybe 95, 98%, even 99. Never been 100%. I definitely have never been 100% convinced of anything related to weight loss when it comes to anyone, and especially you. So I would never be able to just gamble and put all my money on anything.
Glad you did.
When it comes to, yes, up or down. Even on Super Bowl week, it could have been down. Who knows? Who the heck knows what's going to happen with you? But I would have gambled 100% odds that you were going to be lower than you were last week and they were going to set a brand new record this week. Well, I would have lost everything that I own because when that number hit me this morning, I the last time I had to do a double take was when it went down by 4.6 pounds. I was like, wow, I had to just look at that over and over again to make sure I was seeing the middle number correctly. Well, I had to do that again this time because I was thinking, is that 317.3? Did he just set a new record? Are we like on the right path? And then I was like looking at it over and over again. I'm like, no, I don't think that's a 1. It looks like thank God it's not a 3, but it's a 2. And it's 327.3, which brings us back to 2 weeks ago, like deja vu. And then I went back and looked at the picture that you sent me 2 weeks ago. I'm like, did he accidentally send me the same picture from 2 weeks ago of the scale? I compared the pictures to make sure, like, so look at the angle, the feet position, like 1 foot on one picture is higher than the other, but on the second picture, they're even. So it's not the same picture, but it's the exact same weight. Yeah. Wow. So it's 327.3 2 weeks ago, 325 last week. And I thought we were going to hit 324.1, which would have been a new record. Instead, we're back to 327.3. We literally 2 weeks just evaporated into thin air like it never happened. We're back where we started 2 weeks ago. And I just want to inform you, just so that you know, because I know you're not up to date with these numbers. I'm the one that keeps track of all the technical data. So just to let you know, this is week 23. Okay. And if we go back to week 12, which is about halfway through this entire project of ours, you were 1 pound heavier than you are today.
Wow.
You were 328. That's when you hit the 320s for the first time, was on week 12. And now we're on week 23 and you're 1 pound lighter. So I have to dig deep here to figure out, after ending on a high note last week, after you being like, we're going to get to a new record this week, like we're not going to get to the below 320, like that's asking too much. That would have been a over 5 pound weight loss in a week. So that's not happening, but we're definitely going to hit 324.1, which would have been a new record, but we did not. And I need to give you your technical analysis from your perspective. What sabotaged this week? And could you point to specific things that took place that shouldn't have taken place that led to this number?
I can. They're not as fun as I wish, but I think it started to spiral downward probably on Tuesday. I made the cardinal sin of weighing myself too early. 2 days in a row.
You weighed 2 days in a row?
I did. Well, in the middle of the week.
2 days in a row, Tuesday and Wednesday?
I'm thinking it might have been Monday and Tuesday. Maybe it was Tuesday and Wednesday.
By the way, this is Friday, just in case everyone's wondering.
Yeah.
We're recording this on Friday. So
Yeah.
and he's supposed to weigh himself on Friday morning, which he did. And that was 327.3. Well, just out of curiosity, since we're revealing all the dirty secrets of the past week, what were the weights on Tuesday and Wednesday?
So I did not take pictures of them. And, to be honest with you, my memory is not great, but I will tell you what does stand out. I think it was 326 even the first time I weighed in, which might have been Tuesday. And then the next day, and I did a strict day, like no candy bars, strict.
I'm just going to intercede before you continue that if I had to predict the strict day that you did with no candy bars, was to make up for the sins of the past.
Honestly, the weekend was pretty good. Like, I don't feel like I did anything stupid at all on the weekend. Was it looser than like a regular weekday? Yes, but I was not. There's nothing I can point to that was like the least bit stupid. So, that's where I think I was having some mental fatigue, and I've been having some challenges at work, and that's probably. I'm not trying to make excuses because that ultimately doesn't matter.
I need
to. It is the truth. I need to lose the weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And regardless of the external factors, but my schedule has been impacted, and so I think that doesn't help me right now. But so I think I went into the day, having weighed myself early in the week and expecting a much better outcome, and then it did not happen. And so I was kind of like on the side of being fatigued from the whole process, to be honest with you. And then I went through a strict day. I believe that was Tuesday, and expecting that the number would get better quickly, because it was like, low carbs, and then the number went up by half a pound. So I kind of just like, in the midst of everything else I'm working through, that made me go off the reservation. And it's not like I went off the reservation in the old sense of the word, where like I'm ordering 12 pizzas and stopping to go get ice cream or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't that level, but the level was, it's got me to the point where I'm mentally drained a little bit from the whole process. And like, I was frustrated, and I still am, that the outcome was not where it was not trending towards being where I expected it. And had I not weighed in, when I look back, had I not weighed in and let the process unfold naturally, and I behaved myself pretty well, like, I'd be sitting in a better spot than I am right now. I know that. And probably ultimately would have been in, and maybe even setting the new record. I don't know. But like, it did not. Midway through the week, while I had been pretty well behaved, and especially like, I felt like I had done enough for it to certainly not go up that much. And then when I made the next day a pretty darn strict day, I did not see anything in the way of positive outcome. So, like, I need the reinforcement. And right at this point in time, I feel like I need reinforcement, positive reinforcement, and I didn't get it. And so I've just, like, even last night I did damage, like, I've set myself up with different meal options throughout the week, optimistically, jumping in head first with the momentum that we carried out from our last meeting. And I got a whole bunch of different protein in my fridge, and I was starting to put that to work in the early part of the week. And then like I even since the disappointment of the early premature weigh-in, I have still gotten out and got different sources and trying to bring variety back to the whole mix. And at the same time, like late last night, I did something I don't do. It's been like maybe a little bit more emotional eating than it had been. Like last night, one of the things I got, what I got myself was a like prepackaged. Trying to get away from the candy bars, I got prepackaged uh, animal crackers. That were like the little kid sizes, so that it would be something crunchy, something sweet in a time of need, where I could maybe replace that with, the heavy carbs with a third of the tax, if you will. So I had a couple of those last night. Like I just was off the rails. I was like, this is not, it's not going to be what I want, and I'm a little hungry. So what the heck, just do it. And that's not what has been the prevailing theme for me in the last, what is it, 4 months, 6 months. So it's disappointing. I don't feel like I'm all out of control, but I do feel like I'm disappointed with where I am right now. And then hearing you put that into terms where I've lost a pound in the last 12 weeks, that's pretty telling. So overall, I'm happy because, relatively speaking, I am lower than I've been for years, right? But
yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, this is not the end goal. And so I'm just kind of like at a somewhat of a plateau at this moment, and I'm frustrated and I need to work through it.
Well, the biggest mistake that you made this past week, I think you know what direction I'm going in with this. I had spent the better part of 30 years trying to convince you that weighing once a week was the only way that you can possibly succeed on a diet, because one day is not going to dictate anything in regards to what happened the day before. So if you switch from a high carb, which you were following high carb over the weekend, certainly much higher than normal, than during the week, certainly higher than you should be on a diet, and you've been doing that on the weekends. You've been eating more carbs because that's the time where you want to unwind. You don't have to weigh until Friday. So the prior weekend, you can have some fun before the weekdays begin and you get back to work. So you went ahead and decided, I'm going to have fun like I do every weekend. And then I'm going to make up for it by having a no carb day. And then I'm going to weigh myself and see what happens. So you step on the scale and you see what the number is, and you step on the scale the next day and you see it's a half a pound. What was it? A half a pound less?
Higher. It went up.
Higher. Half a pound higher. Right. So what can happen? You could go from, because water fluctuations day by day can amount to pounds at a time. So you could end up retaining more water that day. And so the net result of stepping on the scale tells you gained a half a pound. Like, how could I gain a half a pound? I was just consuming meat. I was consuming protein, but maybe you had more sodium the day before. So you're hanging on to an extra pound and a half or 2 pounds of water. And ultimately you ended up losing a pound of fat and gained a pound and a half of 2 pounds of water. And you would net be down, but the scale's saying you're up, because it's accounting for fat, it's accounting for muscle, and it's accounting for water all at the same time. So you can have your water weight fluctuate and the fat weight fluctuate, but you can't separate the two. We don't know how much fat and how much water, but we do know that at 327.3 pounds, you're a big watermelon, and you can hold quite a bit of liquid inside that body. So if you go on low carbs for days, we can theorize that over days, you're definitely going to be losing weight because you're going to be burning fat, but you're also going to be losing water weight because the carbs are low. But over a day or even 2 days, you can't really tell what the differentiation is between the water weight and the fat weight. And also, you could be consuming meats that are high in sodium and retain water, and it makes it seem as if you step on the scale and it's like it's higher or it's even, and you're just frustrated. Like, I was strict. I just ate protein and fat. I had no carbs and my weight went up a half a pound. But in reality, you could be down 2 pounds of fat and had gained 2.5 pounds of water because of the extra sodium, which retains water. So you cannot, in one day, you're not able to make that analysis because the water fluctuations can be so great that you could step on the scale and just have a complete and utter nightmare, just as what you experienced.
Yeah.
That's what you described to me just now. It's a person who's in a weight loss campaign's. It's the worst possible scenario is to step on the scale after a strict day and have the scale tell you, oh, you're going in the wrong direction. That hurts. That hurts. Now, that explains why the latter part of the week ended the way that it did, because you step on the scale and you see that, and ultimately you're telling yourself subconsciously, even if consciously you're like, maybe I shouldn't have stepped on the scale, made a mistake, I shouldn't have done it. Subconsciously, you're like, it's not working. It's frustrating. The heck, why even, like, I'm frustrated and angry at the fact that it didn't go in the right direction. And I made an effort, and the effort that I did, which was a no carb effort, which is as good an effort as you can make. And I'm frustrated with what the scale said. So ultimately, what's your mind going to tell you to do? It's going to tell you to do what you do to cope with stress, which is eat more, eat what you're not supposed to eat on a diet, and eat lots of it. And that's going to be the temptation. Like, I can escape all of this frustration by just doing what I'm not doing now. And then I can feel better. In the moment, you feel better. And that's what you ended up doing. That explains the latter part of the week. Now, had you not weighed in, you would not known what that number is. You would have had another couple days where those 2 days of not knowing may have, just like you said, may have motivated you enough to be able to keep the carbs low enough to not only not gain the weight that you gained, but bring you below whatever it was that you saw on the scale, the 326. It could have brought you down to the 324, could have lost a couple pounds easy in those 2 days. Because the water weight, if you gained water weight, that could have disappeared in those 2 days. And maybe you would have ended up at 324 or 323. So this is what can happen in those periods of times. Water weight can fluctuate several pounds, and the figures can be just completely different in just a couple of days. And that obviously we would not know because you've carb loaded since then. So you've added more carbs to your system, and the weight went up, and it certainly didn't go up just because of water weight if you were eating the way that you described. So you maybe gained a little bit of fat, maybe gained some water, maybe just a combination of both. That doesn't mean that you went up 2 pounds of fat. Could have went up half a pound of fat and the rest water. It's maybe not as bad as the number seems, because normally before you weigh in, you're pretty much depleted of carbs, and this time you're not. So you never know. That number might be better if you were just on a normal diet, the normal diet that you were supposed to follow. That number may have been a lot better than what it is now, and it may be inflated because of the extra carbs in your system. So ultimately, there's the lesson here is that, and I don't know if you can concur or not. I need to get your feedback, but do you think that weighing in on it any day other than Friday is beneficial or not? I need to know. I need to know from you what your analysis is based on what we've just described for the past week.
So thank you for that question. That's awesome. I would have to say that it is a catastrophic mistake. And as I hate to tell you you're right, this really pisses me off. But
I don't hate you were right at all.
You were right. It pisses me off to say that, but I mean, like, at the same time, my conscious mind is telling you you're right. My conscious mind is also being nudged by the unconscious mind and telling me that I'm probably going to want to weigh in on Tuesday again next week. Like,
I'm sure you are.
even despite the fact that I am having this conversation with you and I'm acknowledging that this was the beginning of my demise this week, was started at the darn weigh-in on Tuesday, I still can't get it wrapped around my head that Tuesday of this week I'm not going to be curious and want to jump on the scale again. It's a problem.
I think you will be. 100% you will be. I have no doubt whatsoever. The 100% bet that I made last week that you'll lose weight, I'm going to win back all my money by putting 100% on the fact that you will definitely want to weigh in on Tuesday. There's no doubt about that. Now, whether you do or you don't, that's totally up to you. I don't know what's going to happen. I could probably wager even more money in saying that more than likely, if I know you as well as I think I know you, you are going to weigh yourself on Tuesday. And you're just going to tell yourself, oh, well, I'll step on the scale, but I don't have to let it derail me no matter what it says. Just information. I'm just going to step on it to see what it says. And what if if I was better on the weekend and it's lower, it's going to motivate me to work even harder to get that number. If I see results, it's going to just give me the motivation I'm missing right now, because you need some motivation. You were getting worn out. So I need a number to tell me I'm headed down the right path to really inject enough energy to be able to get to that next level. So I can see yourself trying to convince on Tuesday, trying to convince yourself it's time to get something, anything that you can use to your advantage, and you need some data, and you just can't wait till Friday to let that happen. It's just way too long to be able to wait 7 days. But I will say that there's an inherent danger, as you can see over the past week, an inherent danger in stepping on the scale after a weekend of looseness, and the potential for that number to be inflated by water weight, as well as anything that's happened over the weekend that may have added a pound of fat or whatever it might be. But the water weight, if it's significant, you could step on the scale and see 330, and that would just be the end. It would be over at that point in time. That's the risk that you take, weighing in the middle of the week and taking that number and assuming that it's going to be a number that's going to help you when it could completely derail you. So it's a gamble, and you are a gambling man. I will not. There's a 100% chance that if you see that there's a possibility that something might go your way and that number might motivate you, you're willing to take the risk and step on the scale and see what it says, and then deal with it as you will after the fact. That's the way you think. That's the way you operate. So I'm not saying that what I'm describing is going to make one bit of difference in what happens next week. I just want you to be aware that there's a flip side to the weigh-in, and the flip side is 327.3. Because more than likely, if you had not weighed in and you had decided, hey, this week I'm going to try to make really good progress, so I'm just going to go no carb on the next 2 days and then weigh in, that number probably would have been a new record. I suspect that would have been a new record.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah. This is a problem, man. This is a real problem. This is my mind. My mind is the problem right now.
It's a hard one to break, man.
The mind is the problem all the way around right now.
Weight loss isn't around the gut. It's between the ears. It's always in the mind. All of it's in the mind. Literally, think about it. What you do controls how much you weigh, and what you do is controlled by how you think. So it's all coming from the mind. Every bit of this is mental. And this whole process from week one has been trying to come up with a negotiated plan that works for you to be able to balance enjoyment of the diet with the food addiction with weight loss. Like let's try and juggle like a clown in a circus and not drop any of those balls. Like just keep going, those three. I want to go ahead and lose weight, but I want to enjoy my diet, and and my food addiction needs to remain intact. Like I have to use a portion of my food to deal with life And but I have to apportion a certain amount of that so that way it doesn't interfere with weight loss. And that juggling act has been happening for the past 23 weeks. And it got you down 27.3 pounds. So that's good. That's not bad. That's good. That's good. You're going down, and you've gone down. The bulk of that, as we know, happened in the first half. The second half was filled with holidays, was the seizure, and now the job situation. All of that. What is all of that? It's the holidays or celebration. Okay, we just take that for what it is. The seizure and the job situation, stress. What does stress do? Motivates you to eat more of what you shouldn't eat on a diet. And then the balancing act gets out of whack, and eventually you drop all the balls on the ground and get a couple boxes of animal crackers and say, the hell with it. Like, it really doesn't matter anymore. and that's the direction you go. So I think people need to realize, you did not come to me wanting to lose weight. I mean, people need to understand that it wasn't you appealing to my knowledge and my wisdom and saying, please, I don't know what to do. I'm desperate to be able to drop all this weight. I want to lose 110 pounds, and we have to do it together because I've had enough. That wasn't what happened. No, I drug you into this myself, and I said, let's do this together. And if we meet every week, chances are we'll be able to get to your goal. I have a confidence that if you show up every week and we make gradual changes, you'll be able to get there. So you were kind of dragged into this, and I wouldn't say against your will, because you're here. So you could easily not be here. So you are here. So it's fully in your will, but you didn't come here from the standpoint of, I'm so motivated to lose weight. Like, I'm willing to do what it takes. You came here like, let's give it a shot, see what happens. So it was sort of like, well, we're gonna experiment and see where it takes us. So you know, your heart is into this from the standpoint of, you've made enough changes, especially in the first half, to be able to see a significant amount of weight loss. So you have enough determination to pull this off over a period of time. What's concerning is the second half. In the second half of this 5-month period, with 1 pound lost, it could be worse. It could definitely be worse. You went through a lot the past several weeks since week 12. You went through, like I say, the holidays, the seizure, the job scenario. That's a lot to deal with, and that could have caused the weight to go way up. So the fact that you're meeting with me every single week has been a tremendous benefit, because despite the fact that it's a pound down since week 12 and we're on week 23, you haven't gained any weight. And that in and of itself is a success, because under any other scenario, you would be back up to 354.
All day.
Yeah.
I have no question. I agree. I mean, I need to meet with you weekly for the rest of my life, dude. I think, for real. Like,
for real. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And I still, like, I still find motivation in the fact that I really don't want to go back to the 330s, right? Like, I know you don't. Like, I've made enough progress to realize I don't want to go back where I was, and I'm in a good spot relative to where I was. So I need to, at the minimum, maintain, but at the same time, I've got to find the gear that I had before at the beginning of all this. I've got to find that gear to get me to the next hurdle, to get me down in the 310s, the 300s, and then the 290s next. That's my next big thing, and I gotta find a way to step on the gas to get there.
Yeah, the next big thing is to get out of the 320s. Once you get out of the 320s, you will feel so good, because you haven't been out of the 320s in the past 5 months. You've been stuck in the 320s since week 12, and to get out of the 320s will feel so good. We're talking about mini goals, micro goals, so that way they seem achievable in a realistic period of time. You're 327.3. You're low on week 20, 324.2. You're not far away from that. Like, you can lose that in a week. Like, you could lose that in a week. It's conceivable to make that happen. You could set a new low in a week. So you're not far away from where you need to be able to get back on the trajectory. The question is, your motivation declines in the midst of stress, just like anybody that has an eating addiction. Stress increases, the motivation to lose weight decreases, because in order for the motivation to lose weight to stay high, you got to be willing to do what it takes to lose weight. And as the stress goes up, your willingness to do that declines, because you want to eat the types of foods that are not consistent with weight loss in order to mitigate the stress. So you're in a situation now where, because of the schedule change, the job scenario, you're trying to balance, how can I get away with enough to be able to enjoy myself, the food addiction portion, while at the same time being able to show positive results at the end of the week. What are you willing to do to make that happen? Because we've talked about intentionality and actually doing things based on the fact that you know they're working in your benefit, and consciously thinking about, how much am I eating? What's the amount of candy bars I'm going to have today, and trying to limit those numbers. Have a plan going into the day as to what you're going to do. What kind of intentionality over the next week is realistic for you given your circumstances? Only you know what it is that you're dealing with on the periphery that's compelling you to do things that you haven't done during the majority of this diet that have caused your weight to stagnate. So you have to be the one to decide what is it that you're willing to do, because some of it's going to be sacrifice, horrible word, but some of it is going to involve doing what you would not normally do. Not all of it. It doesn't mean you're cutting everything out, going hardcore. I know that's not happening. And I wouldn't even suggest that it could possibly happen at this stage, or at any stage for that matter. But it certainly does involve analyzing what's been happening the past few weeks, or even just the past week, and saying, what am I going to do differently next week, so that next week is not a carbon copy of this week? Because it has to be different. Like, you have to intentionally go into next week and say, am I going to allow the temptation to indiscriminately eat foods that are not consistent with my goal of weight loss? Am I going to allow that to happen without me interfering in any way whatsoever? And which would mean that it's controlling you. That's what an addiction is. It's in control. It's telling you what to do. It's the one that's saying, eat this, and you eat it. Like, it's like literally pushing you and compelling you to do things that are not consistent with what we're trying to achieve. Or are you going to go into the week and say, I understand that I want to have some latitude on the diet, but I'm going to have to be the one to decide what that latitude is, how far I'm going to go. I can't let it escape me, because when it escapes me, that's when I get into trouble. So I'm going to have to make some difficult decisions. They may not be they're not insurmountable decisions, but you have to actually think about it ahead of time. You have to actually tell yourself, this is what my week is normally constitutes now in my current schedule, and I'm going to have to do this to be able to potentially get to a good number next week. This is what I'm going to have to do. And you have to think about it ahead of time, so that way you don't look at the week as a weekend where I can do whatever I want, and then I'll just worry about the rest Monday and try to make up for it. Because the more damage you do on Saturday and Sunday, the less progress you're going to make on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And if you could do less on the weekend, you'll accomplish more during the week. It will make you feel better on Friday. And ultimately, it's about being able to tell yourself that on Friday, when I step on the scale, if I see a number that's an all-time low, I'm going to feel a lot better than I do with those momentary highs of being able to consume the food that's not working consistent with my goal, which is very, very temporary and fleeting. But if I step on the scale Friday and see that number, that high is going to last me for a long time. In fact, it can propel me to work even harder, because I'm starting to see, like, okay, I'm getting to new ground here. And then the competitive spirit gets lit up, within you, and it just propels you to new heights. So you have to consciously tell yourself this because it's very easy to go on autopilot. And what autopilot is for you and any food addict is, I'm going to just immerse myself in whatever it is I need to in order to escape the moment when that temptation arises. And the temptation in situations where stress is higher, like it is for you now, those temptations arise more frequently. So that means that you have to contend with them more often, which means it's more important to go in with a game plan as to what am I going to do? How am I going to organize and structure my day? Because now that the job scenario is sort of in the air, you're not on a structured schedule. The structure you had in the first half is not there. So that structure was very helpful to you, and you've said that many times. Like knowing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you knew what it is that your schedule was, and it was very easy to be able to plan what you were going to do on those days. That's not here right now, and that makes it more difficult. But you can come up with a structure as far as how am I going to handle my meals for the day, enough of a structure to be able to prevent damage being done and to be able to compel yourself to potentially make some progress. How much are you willing to do? Do you have any idea what that would look like for you, so that way you could enter the next week with a better frame of mind and feeling as if you're empowered? Because the worst feeling in the world is to say, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna let the food addiction take over. I'm just gonna allow it to take control of me. That's like the worst case scenario, because you don't want the food addiction to dictate what the next 7 days is going to look like. So it's either that, or you take control and you say, all right, I have decided that I'm going to have the latitude to eat certain foods like you have been, candy bars, whatever it may be, but I'm going to put some limits on this and structure on this so that way I don't get out of control. Therefore, you're the one then making the decision as to what it is that you do.
Yeah. That's I've been the one making the decision, and it's been better than ever before for an extended period of time. However, it's also been better in the first 3 months of this than it has the last 3. So I need to refocus, man. I need to refocus.
And what does that look like? Tell me what it looks like. And it doesn't have to be meal to meal. What does refocusing look like to you, given your state of mind? Because I know that you talked about fatigue, and I want to know more about that specifically. Diet fatigue in general, mental fatigue.
Yeah, I think it's diet fatigue, but I mean, at the same time, you know, I remember myself saying that this is like a legit lifestyle change in the beginning of the process when I was being most successful. And so maybe I've been making this too much of a diet game recently, as opposed to just focusing on the lifestyle part of it. And so I just got to look at the patterns I was established before that were kicking butt and go back to that. I feel like I got to duplicate what was successful. Yeah, I mean, this was like, as far as eating is concerned, this was the worst it got as far as the emotion behind it. I was coming from a negative place when I was eating even late last night. It was from a negative place, and I don't want to be in a negative place in any aspect of life, but it was like almost mad at myself or something, you know, like taking it out on myself for weighing in and doing the stupidity. And why did you do that? Just trusted the process. Take your time, let the Friday weigh-in come in and see where it unfolds, and stop obsessing. I think I just became too focused on the number. And in the beginning of this, it was probably, my focus was more just on the day-to-day, just do the right things and then see where it goes, you know, and have fun checking in on it at the end of the week. And now it's like I've gotten too strategic, and okay, well, Thursday I'm going to be super tight, and you know, I'm going to make everything look as good as it can on Friday, but maybe I provided myself too many allowances and got too comfortable using things that are not probably necessary. So it's hard to just say that I'm going to give up everything. I'm not ready to do that, but I was somehow doing much better. I was somehow doing much better at this a few months back, and I need to get back to that somehow.
Well, I feel as if as this process has gone on, you've your mind has been consistently trying to find a way to be able to extend the enjoyment of the diet while consistently losing weight. Like, how far can I stretch that? And these experiments of midweek weigh-ins and one strict day to try and offset things that were done prior. It was all in an effort to attempt to try and continually juggle, but to make the food addiction, emotional eating ball twice the size of the weight loss ball. Like, how big, how much can I get away with and still achieve? And look, I don't mind that frame of process at all, because obviously the more you can get away with, the better. That would be fantastic if you can stretch that out to the point where you're eating foods that you really love all the time and you're still losing weight. I mean, that's ultimately where everybody wants to be. And you end up trying to push the envelope as far as it'll go before it bursts. And I think the experiment has been happening for far too long as far as how far that's going to go. In other words, it's easy to lose sight of a failed week and then go into the next week using the same tactic that you did during the week that you failed. Because if the emotional eating part becomes stronger, then it's like, well, I'll still try and balance it, but I'm not really going in with anything, no intentional idea of what I'm going to do, other than the fact that uh, I'll do my best during the week to tighten things up a bit and enough to be able to pick up on what happened during the weekend. And now the weigh-ins start sneaking in to be able to see how much you have to do. Like, how much do I have to do to get to a good number on Friday? So if I get a midweek weigh-in that's telling me something good, then I could do something different than if it's telling me something bad. So you're attempting to sandwich a certain amount of effort into 2 days to be able to get a different number than you saw in the middle of the week. And it dictates what it is that you do, when the dictation isn't going to have to come from the scale, because the scale can lie to you based on what the water weight happens to be in that number. So you need to structure the week based on what you know to be true with past performance. And that's, during the week, you were pretty strict. And you added the candy bars and tried to see how many of those you could get away with. But prior, in the weekend, you've been loose. So you've been having a looser weekend and a much tighter weekdays. And that was sort of the game plan you've been following the entire time, except as of late, maybe the candy bar experiment has ramped up a bit. How much can I get away with during the week? Like, I know the weekend seems to be okay. Like, I'm dealing with the weekend fine. What can I do during the week to be able to get a bit more stress relief out of my food while still losing weight? I think that experiment started to enter the picture a bit. And to be able to see what could happen there in the middle of the day, at the very least, with candy bars and whatever it is that could happen, to add some carbs in there to be able to satisfy you, and then see what happened at the end of the week. And I think the experiment started to get a little too heavy on the carbohydrate portion, and you're not tracking anything, so you don't know what's happening on the weekend other than it's loose. It's looser than what it is during the week. But then the week starts to become a bit loose with the candy bars, and that can add up. Obviously, we've done the numbers on the and they can add up quick. And that's in addition to what's happening during the weekend and no exercise. So that combination then makes it very difficult for the body to consistently move in the right direction. And it doesn't take that much to move the needle because of how much you still weigh. So it's not like you have to make this drastic shift to a different stratosphere in order to get momentum going again. That's not necessary. It's just making better choices, enough better choices each day that accumulate over the week, so that Friday ends up being a good day for you when you weigh in. Those choices, trying to sandwich that into a day or 2 days, and I'm going to loosen things up early, and then in late, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to play catch up by attempting to burn as much as I possibly can in a couple of days. One, you could do a lot of damage in the days prior that you can't make up for, and there's that day or two. And two, the water weight fluctuations over doing something like that could be enough that you weigh in and you don't really get an accurate figure as to what's happening. And then you start looking at those days that you restrict as being worthless because the number's higher than you would have liked it to be, just like you did this week when it was a half a pound higher, when it could legitimately have been lower. I mean, that number subtracting water fluctuations may be a pound lower for that day, but you would never know it because it's masqueraded by the water weight gain. And that, I can't emphasize that enough about how that's what derails so many people when it comes to weight loss, is confusing the number with fat loss, because the number itself does not speak on body fat reduction in a short period of time. You can't take a day or two or three, step on the scale and assume, oh, the difference is all fat, because water fluctuation can be significant and it can go up as well as down. So you don't necessarily assume just because you drop carbs that water weight is down, because you could retain more water with salt, depending on your salt, sodium intake, depending on what you're eating, can go up. Water weight can go up by 5 pounds. I mean, it could literally fluctuate significantly. So that's the reason why those numbers, the midweek numbers, anything other than a 7-day period is going to be misleading. And it can be misleading good. It can be misleading very bad. And ultimately, you're going to react to that because emotionally, your brain is hooked on any excuse to just give up. it is. Now, I mean, let's be honest. Anybody that has an addiction, their brain, their subconscious mind, the back of the mind is trying to find a way around this. Like, get me out of here. Like, get me back to what made me happy, to what made me to escape. Like, I need the escape. Like, the escape is so good. It feels so good. It gets me away from pain. It gets me away from sadness. It gets me away from grief. Get me back to that somehow. And it's looking for a way, and it will play the most cruel tricks upon a person. The most devious, the most dire type of circumstances will be created by your mind to try and get you to the goal. And it literally will try to do workarounds and convince you of things that are just preposterous, that just they don't have any like, if you analyze them, it's like, I see exactly what's happening here, but it's very easy to just not see it at all because it's intoxicating when it's happening. It's like the part of me that's pushing me in that direction is kind of making me happy. Like if I could get there, it would be great. And that's what an addiction is. It makes you feel good and you want more of it. So if something is moving you back there and you get a taste of it, it becomes easier to have more of it and more of it and more of it, and to justify it. And then it's like the way that it accelerates on itself is that you get frustrated. You get frustrated, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Like, why did I do that? Why did I just, like you were saying, I shouldn't have weighed in, or I shouldn't have eaten the animal crackers. I should, like, things start to weigh in, like, oh, why did I do that? Why didn't I just stay strict? Even though the weight said this, I would have been lower on and then you get frustrated, and the frustration, what do you do to get rid of the frustration? You eat more, right? And you eat more because you forget about being frustrated until you're done eating. And then you start remembering, like, well, that I worked for an hour, a half hour, or 20 minutes, however long it took to finish eating. But now, man, that's terrible. Like, I feel bad again. And when I'm hungry, I'll eat again. And that's how the ball gets rolling right down the hill once again. That's what you want to avoid. Like, that's what you desperately don't want to get back on that wagon where it's pulling you down the wrong path, which is why I emphasize, although you've lost a pound since week 12 and we're on week 23, you're still a pound down and you didn't gain weight and you're not up despite a lot of setbacks and circumstances over the past couple months, 3 months. And you still have the potential to, in short order, set a new record. You're not far away from that at all. So I think it's imperative to try and stay below 330. By God,
Oh yeah,
that's my I'm begging you.
Yeah.
I am honestly with all I got. I'm telling you that would be wonderful if the 320s. I was cursing them and saying you got to get out of the 320s, but
I know.
when I say you got to get out of the 320s, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying there's two ways to do it. There's one of them. One of them is something that you may not be able to recover from. So I would suggest you focus on the prize, and the prize is definitely staying away from that number at all costs. It's a test of will because there was a few weeks ago where I said it's a do or die moment, where we're there now as far as you being able to get the right frame of mind to be able to tell yourself that, this is worth doing. This is all worth doing. Like you've achieved amazing results. You're down 27.3 pounds. You're on your way to achieving your goal, and that you've stagnated for a number of weeks, but you can keep things going because you've done it already. You've proven that it's possible. You've proven that you're capable of it. You know that you have it within you because we look at the numbers and we know what you accomplished. You're almost 30 pounds down. That shows that you have the wherewithal to pull this off. It's getting through the difficult moments, the times where stress is elevated like it is now. It's being able to get through those moments and make the decisions that benefit you. Make enough good decisions that outweigh the bad decisions, so that way each week is a step in the right direction. It doesn't need to be anything dramatic. You don't need to aim for big numbers. You just, if it's going down the right path, then it's a huge success for you. I mean, it's something to be celebrated, especially under the circumstances.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. And you reframed it nicely so that it's positive and motivational. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's no question it is a do or die. I mean, the 330 is something that I told myself I'm not going to let it happen again. So it needs to be true. That needs to hold. And I need to get out of the 320s the other direction. It needs to happen. It needs to happen.
It feels like you're on the brink of disaster. I mean, just an observation here. I need to know. Frame of mind right now is important. It's like the only thing that matters, really.
It is
when it comes to what's going to happen next. How's your frame of mind as we speak?
Slightly unfocused. I would say unfocused right now. And to be honest, one question, there is still deep inside me a desire to do this. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I started to look at and consider was introducing some exercise to the equation.
Okay.
Would that be well-timed? You don't like that, or you don't hate it?
I don't hate that idea at all.
Okay.
I don't hate the idea. I know what you're trying to accomplish on a very deep level. I think it's very transparent. If I could do some exercise, I could counteract some of this and maybe start the weight moving down the right path while, just maintaining enough looseness in the diet to be able to live a happy life. Like that combination could work in your favor if I just thought, certainly the exercise is going to help. It's not going to hurt. It's certainly going to help. It just depends on what you do diet wise in conjunction with the exercise. Right. You can certainly counteract it. It's going to accelerate results when the diet is good enough. When the diet's not good enough, it's not going to help you undo horrible habits. So you're only going to be able to get away with so much, but it's helpful. It's helpful enough that I would do it if you can, for sure. And if
I guess so I'm hearing what you're saying, and I appreciate that. I'm mentally taking it from the approach of not to make up for just doing stupid stuff, but a more moderated approach. I feel like I was at a somewhat moderated approach without exercise, and it was working. So, but moderated and consistent approach, right? So,
yes,
I've got to find that moderation level and consistency level to get some result. But then if I'm like right now, I feel it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, like I feel more mobile, right? Like I'm 325 pounds, 327 pounds, but I can move better than I did by 30 pounds.
Yes.
A couple months ago. So like that should be something, if I was to add that to the equation, would I expedite the results and therefore fuel my motivation and just build more momentum that way? Would I turn a 1 pound weight loss week into a 2 pound weight loss week? If I did that, maybe I'm at the point where I just got to push through and make that start happening.
Well, the other advantage to exercise, which most people don't consider, is that when you begin to put that kind of effort, I mean, and it takes, look, if you're not doing any exercise, doing anything that would be considered exercise that raises your heart rate, that potentially burns fat, is going to be a sacrifice. It's something that you're doing that you weren't doing. It's something that you'd rather not do. And when you start doing it, it creates a desire for some people, for a lot of people, to be able to focus more on what they're eating, because it feels like, if I'm going to go out there and do this, and I'm going to burn calories, and I'm going to put this effort every day or every other day or however often you exercise into something I otherwise would not be doing, I better get something out of it. And knowing that the diet is directly connected with results, it can motivate you to be more strict than you otherwise would be, to make better choices, because you're doing something other than the diet. Like, the diet's not living on its own merits. Now I'm also going out and doing something that takes effort, and I don't want that effort to go in vain. So I'm going to therefore put more effort into my diet as well, just so that way, when I go out and exercise, I know that it's providing me benefit. Like, I don't want the feeling of going out doing this for nothing. Like, that's the worst of the worst.
It is.
So I'm going to try to avoid that at all costs. So it can motivate you to eat better than you otherwise would. And then, of course, that's going to have a huge effect, because if it were to get you enough motivation to eat as well as you were during the first half of what we were experiencing here, where you were losing 2 pounds a week average, all of a sudden that would change everything. And that's really all that you need. You just need enough to be able to get the scale moving in the right direction week to week. And if exercise, the combination of exercise and any motivation you gain from that, to be able to be a bit better with the diet than you have been recently, if all of that works together, we'll work together in tandem to be able to potentially get you numbers that we were seeing in the first half.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I need to look for a 5K and start training for a 5K.
Really?
I mean, I do.
Okay.
I think that
I like that.
I think I need to have a focus to take me off of being completely just obsessed with the number every week, but also with my work schedule being in flux and just being inconsistent at this point, like I need a positive focus to keep me locked in on that is constructive. And I think this might provide that and reinforce the positive feelings I have about being lighter than I was, like noticeably lighter. Like, this is something that I wouldn't be able to do as well by a long stretch if I had started this 6 months ago, but now I'm in a position where I can take advantage and do better than I would have. And
for sure,
I think that might be the next step.
It's the next step if you're willing to do it. I fully endorse any exercise that you're willing to put forth, as little as walking to as much as whatever. It literally, any movement of your body is going to be beneficial. If your heart rate goes up, then it's going to be helpful. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's just you got to get your body moving. The more it moves, I mean, it's moving 327 pounds. Anything that you do that propels your body forward is going to be considered exercise, and it's going to be beneficial. So at this stage, walking, power walking around the neighborhood, all good, all helpful, very helpful. It's you can't overestimate how helpful it is, because of the fact that, anytime when you reduce body weight to a low level, then you start running and jogging to increase intensity, or using hills. But when you're carrying an excessive amount of weight, the weight is the resistance, and that resistance makes it more difficult. And because it's more difficult, it causes your body, your cardiovascular system, to work harder. And when it works harder, it burns more calories. And so no matter what it is that you do, it doesn't need to be something that's so daunting that you just have nightmares just before you wake up, thinking about what am I don't really have to want to engage in any of this today, and I just don't even want to get out of bed. You don't have to make it so difficult that it's something that you just want to avoid instinctually. You want to make it sustainable. If you could do a walk, I mean, people just, they look at walking, and it's like it's not enough. It is enough. When you're 100 pounds overweight, it's enough. It's definitely enough to be able to get the heart rate up. If you do it consistently, it is a huge ally, and it's really going to be helpful to you if you could at least do that. And I know you were talking about the 5K and working up to that, and you can start with walking and work your way up. I'd like for you to just get consistent with something that's realistic, and I think walking is realistic for everybody to do. And certainly you can carve whatever time you can out of your schedule to be able to take those walks. It could be on a treadmill, it can be outside, it doesn't matter. It's just that it happens. And if it happens consistently, the benefit is tremendous on what it is you're trying to achieve. What is it you think you can do? Like how much walking, if we start with that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tested it in a long time, but I mean, I feel like
minutes.
I feel like I could go for a couple miles with a walk. I feel like I could do 2 miles. I don't know. I mean, like,
I'll bet you like a half-hour walk, 40-minute walk,
easily,
something like that. That would be good.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. If you could do
if
that,
I just make that a regular daily deal,
2 miles would be perfect. If you could do 2 miles a day, that would be amazing. I'm not even great. It would be tremendous.
Yeah.
It really would. If you could somehow negotiate that, it could change everything in your favor, as long as you consistently try and make that diet mirror what you have been doing for most of this time. I think that combination could be a catalyst for you. And you'll obviously judge how much latitude you're allowing in the diet. But I think that as you add the exercise, I think that's automatically going to increase your desire to be strict enough with the diet, potentially at least, to be able to be strict enough with the diet to be able to get things going in the right direction. To lose a couple pounds a week potentially is what you could be back to doing. All right.
That. I think my real focus is stuffing my face with protein in the morning.
Yeah.
Adding daily exercise routine of some sort, including just walking. Pretty much
walking.
Just something that I will
walking. Don't even
be able to do.
Ditch the term just. Walking. The walking gets such a bad, like people want to just trample all over it, like it's the most worthless activity known to man. I do it every morning on the treadmill, inclined. It is the best. It is the best. You don't need anything beyond that. If you do it right and consistently, you don't need anything else.
Sounds amazing. Sounds too good to be true.
You really don't. You just got.
I would like to put that
do it consistently.
Yeah. So continue with the early morning protein ritual. Add the daily movement ritual.
Yes.
And just stay off the darn scale.
Stay off the scale, man. Stay off the scale. And I need
that
to
for
ask
7 days and see what happens.
Yes, I'm all for that plan. 100% behind what you just said. I need to know specifically, because you have been doing some investigative reporting over the past couple weeks. I believe you used artificial intelligence to be able to locate a couple of potential alternatives for Snickers candy bars, and you came up with something you tried on the air here, live on the show, past 2 episodes, and I'm just curious, what question did you ask this artificial intelligence to be able to provide you with the 2 options that you presented to us? Because I know how I had suggested you phrase it. It was very specific. I'm just curious, did you tell artificial intelligence that you are a Snickers bar addict?
No.
Or something to that nature? Did you at least inform it that you enjoy Snickers bars? Did you include the term Snickers bars?
I didn't tell it exactly that I like Snickers bars, but I said
okay, all right,
something along the lines. But listen, it doesn't understand me. So I asked it to find, to tell me what is the protein bar that tastes most like Snickers.
Did you use the term Snickers?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I am so sure. I've got something here with me.
Oh, what is that? Wait. I can't see it. What does it say?
It's Quest. It's another Quest bar. I ordered a sampler pack of Quest bars. Last week was one of them. As I reflect, and this week I took part in both Quest bars, the kind I had used the last episode, which was the special edition, and the original one I did, which was the IQ. I think forget the name of that one, but it was Smart Bar or IQ something.
Yeah.
The original one that I tried, the
yes, I remember.
That one is far superior when I do direct combination.
To the second one that you tried, the one last week.
Yes, the first one was better than the second one.
Okay, all right.
But
by the way,
nonetheless, the second one brand is Quest, and I've ordered a sampler pack of the Quest.
Okay,
but taking the comparison, it does add value. Like, for instance, that first week, I was like, it's okay, right? And then the value has gone up in it since I've had less enjoyment with the other alternative, right? So
yes,
I think it's important part of the process for me to go through and taste test a number of different items and then find what I enjoy the most.
Oh, I concur 100%.
This one is called chocolate peanut butter flavor. 20 grams of protein, 4 net carbs. So I'm going to take a bite of this and see what we think with some reluctance.
By the way, just so you know, whoa, did you just, you didn't even let me stop you.
I had to go all in.
Obviously, you were not kidding when it comes to your appetite having reached all-time highs over the past several days. That literally happened before I was even able to look up at the camera. This is looking good.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just judging from afar, but it looks like your facial expressions are superior than they were, I think, maybe the last time you tried a protein bar, from what I can remember, or maybe not. maybe.
This is definitely better than the flavor that I had last time.
So you're saying it's between number 1 and number 2?
Like,
in other
this
words,
is the better of the Quest bars that I've had. Last week was the So this is the third of.
So this is second place of the 3 you've tried.
Yeah, I'd have to do a side by side, but I can tell you the one I did last week would not make it the playoffs.
Okay, so the one last week's a epic fail, but the one this week is a keeper.
I mean, like I'm not like stopping eating it. So
clearly not. So based on the way you're reacting, I say one of two things: either this is one of the best that you've ever had, or you're willing to eat just about anything at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. I don't know how to. I don't know if I can give you an honest answer to that. It's, it looks like a chocolate chip cookie dough type situation with nuts in it.
I'm always a big fan of that. Yes, you're telling me that
it doesn't. It doesn't taste like a chocolate chip cookie dough, but I at the same time, like, I am eating it. It's not like it's revolting, and I really could do some ridiculous damage if I would just program myself to rock these more often. I really would. I know that I'm going to have to just overcome this. At some point, I'm going to have to just grow up and minimize the amount of legit candy bars and maximize more use of higher protein sources and make that the regular. I'm going to have to do it.
Picking up where we left off, after that wonderful experiment that you just conveyed upon us, I wouldn't consider that an epic fail. Maybe, possibly you'll be able to use this one to your advantage, but I'm skeptical. I think maybe we're stuck with the first one as being a possibility of something that you can use more often. Maybe, right? Maybe. I mean, maybe not.
I would. I'd be willing to.
But let's forget all that, because you're telling me you used the term Snickers in your query. Is that what you're saying, correct? You used the term. You're 100% sure of this, because it's starting. I'm starting to question one of two things. Okay, I'm going to either question your integrity, or I'm going to question the intelligence part of the artificial intelligence, because I was informed by somebody in the comments section of the video that we posted last week that this exists.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm pointing at you right now?
I have a new best friend. Who is that? I need to know.
Well, apparently
where do I get that?
Artificial intelligence, because if you legitimately asked artificial intelligence to find you a high protein alternative to a Snickers bar, and this was not the only thing it told you about, what I just showed you,
it didn't, and I literally typed in the word Snickers, man. I don't know. I might have a screenshot of it. If I have a screenshot, I'll be happy to share it with you.
I would love,
because
that would be a complete indictment.
I don't care for the tone that I'm receiving when my integrity is called to question.
Well, because I just wanted to make sure, since I was very specific about you being detailed in your query, if you left out the term Snickers, I almost believe that would be unforgivable. But at the same, on the same,
you made it clear.
On the same token, I would love to know, if you did include that term, how artificial intelligence was able to miss out on the fact that Snickers makes a high protein bar, which I think the commenter said tastes the same as a Snickers bar.
Wow. I'm ready to go order this right now. Amazon is about ready.
Don't shoot the messenger, okay?
Dude.
According to the comment that I read, it said that it tastes just like a Snickers bar.
Come
That's
on,
what
man.
the comment said.
Come on. All right, that's my next week, dude.
I
Lock it in.
Kid you not.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait until Friday. I might be addicted to these things by the time I see you next.
I need you to try it. I really need you to try it on the air. I can't have you doing this behind the scenes.
Okay.
At least you need to.
I'd be cheating on you.
At least you would need to video it with your son or something to be able to get. I need to have footage of how you felt when you tried it. So you may have to wait.
If this thing arrives early, I will call you and schedule an emergency meeting so that you can be a part of it.
Really?
If it arrived early, since it's that important, and because you actually had somebody, who gave you this guidance.
Listen,
presumably to share with me. I hope that's amazing.
I'm going to read it to you right now. That's why I'm not paying attention to anything you're saying. I'm looking for the quote so that way I can prove I'm not making this up.
Jeff, this is amazing.
It says, Jeff, they actually make a Snickers protein bar. You would never know the difference when eating either one.
God. Stop.
Also, some other protein bar options are Anna bars, Gorilla Mind bars, Robert Irvine bars. They're all basically candy bars with added protein and taste amazing.
Okay, let's go. What am I doing with this stuff, man? I'm sitting here eating cardboard, man. Who's this guy? I love him.
He is artificial intelligence is who he is.
No, he's not. He's legit. He's a human. Artificial intelligence got me this stuff.
I'm going to send you a screenshot of this, and then you're going to look at all these brands.
Of
course, we know what number one is on the list.
You've lit the fire. Okay. This guy has lit the fire.
All right.
I'm back. I feel like I'm back now. I'm re-energized.
Maybe Ron Burgundy 7571 needs to take my place. Maybe we need to switch spots. He needs to
Ron,
for me.
You are the man.
This could be the saving grace that we've both been looking for. I mean, seriously, couldn't it? I mean,
pivotal moment in time, right? It's a pivotal moment in time. Either I'm going up the 330, in catastrophic fashion, or I'm going to start the trajectory down for good.
Right.
Based off of the truthfulness of, was it Ron 7571?
Ron Burgundy 7571.
Ron Burgundy 7571.
It weren't for this man. This guy is a saint. If it were not for his 3-day-old comment, you'd still be typing into ChatGPT. These candy bars suck. I can't stand any of them. Please find me something that tastes good! Exclamation point. Good. So, I'm asking you, and then it would have never even told you that these things exist.
Apparently, humans are better than artificial.
Well, apparently Rob,
I'm willing to give it a shot. I'm more than willing to give it a shot, and then if it works, you're going to have to tell me I was right about something. Do you realize that?
What exactly would you be right about?
The fact that artificial intelligence failed where a human came in and saved the day. Ron, is it Burgundy, like with a Y?
It is Ron, B-U-R-G. Yes, Burgundy.
So that means this guy also has my sense of humor.
Yes.
This guy, that is a movie character. His screen name is a movie character.
See what I mean?
And I know you don't. I know you don't dabble in these silly movies.
No.
But this guy is a man after my own heart. He craves good flavor and high protein. Yes. And he enjoys and appreciates humor the way I do. And
well, there you go.
If I got you locked into a room to watch a movies with me, then you would probably enjoy this as well. But I know you spend your time doing far more productive things most of the time. But if I could lock you down for 2 hours of just debauchery, when it
I think
we might have to experiment in this. If this guy is legit and this works, I'm gonna there's nothing off the table.
If you like these candy bars as much as he thinks that you will, then I will watch every Ron Burgundy movie ever made.
Let's go. This is
10
amazing.
times in a row with you. I have.
This is amazing.
My promise.
Just Ron, wherever you are, bless you, sir. God bless you. I have renewed hope and optimism going into this week. How long were you going to keep this from me? How long were you going to keep this from me?
That's what I was going to end with. I knew 3 days ago, and guess what?
You saved it.
Unlike you, I could wait till Friday.
Great. That's great. Nice touch. Nice touch. I'm sure everybody appreciates that.
I was looking forward to it. I was anticipating it. I was really like, I can't wait to be able to tell him about this. Not only did I wait till Friday, I waited till the end of the episode to tell you. That's the kind of discipline I want to see from you on occasion.
Let's get reasonable here, man. I don't know that that's a realistic goal. I mean,
no, it's not.
Me losing 110 pounds seems way more reasonable to expect than me to have the patience and discipline that you have in life. Okay,
100%.
Like, I'll admit it straight up. But I am so on. I appreciate you sending me the screenshot. I'm going to be investigating fully what my options look like for portable protein that tastes like candy. If I even find one answer in that department of all those, that is a huge win.
Oh, it's the biggest win of all.
Changing.
It's the biggest win.
It will be life changing.
It will be.
So I'm excited. Thank you.
Well, that I wanted to end it on the best note possible, and I think I did just that.
You did. You saved it, man. I'm gonna do that in addition to staying off the scale. I'm committing right now. I'm not gonna touch the scale till next Friday.
Oh, look at this, Ron Burgundy.
Yeah,
Burgundy.
Burgundy, like the color.
Burgundy. Ron Burgundy is sent from heaven above. Like this guy is an angel. Wings.
He is an angel. Yeah.
To be able to step in and literally turn something that was on the teetering on disaster.
It's divine intervention.
Literally, after I read that message to you, the smile on your face,
I know,
the glimmer in your eye,
dude. I'm back. He restored me, dude. This is divine intervention, no joke. I don't know if he realizes the role he's playing right now, but I'm all ready to go. I'm ready to go.
This is fantastic, man.
It's unbelievable.
I love it. I love it
too. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Let's see.
No weigh in, man. No early weigh in. Heavy protein every morning.
Yep.
And what was the other thing I said I was going to do?
Walk.
I'm going to introduce the exercise, and I'm going to investigate these new dreams.
Yeah. Not necessarily in that order.
Protein sources.
Yes.
Let's go.
Oh, this is great, man. Thank you so much, Ron Burgundy and Jeff. I'm so proud of you for leaving with a big smile on your face.
Oh man, Ron did it.
I credit him for that. It was all Ron. I had nothing to do with it. I tried to steer you down the right path. Apparently, I did not when it comes to investigating protein bars that taste delicious.
If this propels me under 300, then I'm gonna have to get Ron a gift of some sort.
Oh,
that's a commitment.
I think so.
I owe him a gift. If I get under 300 with the catapult that he just gave me, Ron's getting something from me, man.
All right, man. Well, Ron, don't hold your breath on that one. Well, listen.
Let's hope. That he's not overhyping me. Let's hope he's not overhyping.
If he's not, if you find one needle in a haystack, it doesn't matter. One is all you need. If you find one that you can get excited about, it could change everything.
It really could
turn this whole experiment upside down, which is what we want to do at this stage.
All the way.
So I'm all for it, man. I'm proud of you, brother. You continue to hang in there. You're going to get to the finish line one way or the other. I just want to let you know that you are 3.1 pounds up this month.
Mm-hmm.
And you got one more week to take care of that. So, I mean, this month only has one more week to go. So this is going to be your first weight gain month unless you lose 3.2 pounds or more. So I'm just letting you know, so that way you
Thank
don't
you for the
say that
challenge.
you didn't have the data.
Data
I
help.
gave you exactly what you need to know. You were up 3.1 pounds 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Then last week you were up. You were down. No, 3 weeks ago you were up 3.1. 2 weeks ago you were down 2.3. This past week, 2.3 up. So that nullified those 2 weeks, cancel each other out, which means you're up 3.1 for the month. You got one more week. Let's see what happens, man. One way or another, Ron, I think, has possibly saved the day for us both. And I am beyond excited for whatever it is that you bring with you on Friday to experiment with right here.
I'm really
that's
putting
going to be
a lot of stock in Ron's recommendation.
Yes.
He said I would never know the difference, right? That's what you quoted. I would never know the difference.
I am not.
Please, Ron, please don't be leading me down.
Yeah.
Please don't lead me down the primrose path, man. Please tell me you're giving me truth. I need gospel.
Well, we're going to find out, because you're going to be, you're definitely discriminating when it comes to candy bars.
Oh yeah.
Especially high carb ones. Yep. So we'll figure out exactly how they taste, according to the most difficult critic on the face of the earth next week, possibly. Yeah. I think you'll be able to get your hands on those by then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't care what I have to do. It's going to happen, dude. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's going to happen. All right, brother.
Doesn't matter.
All right, brother. Well, I got something to look forward to. I'm excited. I love you, man. And
love you too.
I'm walking by your side each and every week. We're going to have fun doing this. We're going to get to the finish line one way or another.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see if this is going to be the holy grail that we just discovered thanks to Ron Burgundy.
Yes. Oh my God.
I'm literally with the Hail Mary pass at the very end of the game. So we'll see what happens next week, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Love you, brother.
You're welcome, man. Love you. With the macros you expect from high performance protein bar and the taste you love, Snickers high protein bar starves off hunger, and the most important part, without sacrificing flavor. Enjoy the chocolate, caramel, and peanut flavors you know and love from Snickers, along with 20 grams of protein for a completely satisfying experience. So what do you think about that?
I'll tell you what I think about it. I'm driving to the freaking drugstore to see if they have one of these things right now, dude.
Well, hurry up and get there already, man. You think I can wait?
I'm across the street. I'm waiting at the red light. I will be parking the car. I'll be going in to find one of these things. I hope they have it.
Okay, man. I'm waiting. I'm not going anywhere.
Like, if this is all true, it should be on billboards everywhere. That's why I'm slightly skeptical, but I'm going to try to take an open mind into the store. I'm going to whip my wallet out and I'm going to buy a blue Snickers bar if I can find one. And I'm going to bring it back here and consume it. I will log back in momentarily.
I'm anticipating your return.
I know. I won't forget you, I promise. They don't have it.
Oh, maybe they're so popular that they just sell out everywhere. I would think, given the way that they've been described to us, that every single aisle that classifies itself as protein bar should have these in the beginning, the middle, and the end of the aisle. That way you can't help but run into it no matter where in the aisle that you happen to be. But we're talking about the Snickers diet. Like, we may actually be able to make that come true if this can live up to the expectations. There literally is a protein bar made by Snickers. The bar you're trying to replace is made by the company, and it exists right now.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude.